Well, hello, welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valarie, your neighborhood pyrography artist, and today we are doing blurry background. So I actually was able to do some burning over the last couple of days, which is so nice to just burn. And this is where we're at. Hopefully I got to pull out. There we go. On the background, we're going to work more on this and discuss why a blurry background for some subjects is important. And we are going to get started with, let's see here, what pen do we want? Alrighty. If you hear the heater, sorry about that. It is cold outside. My studio was 54 this morning and it is 45 outside. Our weather really changed. Alright, so we are going to get started. Some of this I'm going to have to stand to get here a little more comfortably. And I am actually going to get started with my 18 large. We don't see that one too often. I'm going to bump down to 2.5. Get that going. Hey Andrea, hey Sheila, hey Carmen. Alright, so I'm starting with the dark part first because it's easier to put the dark in and then work out. The tree needs to go much darker. In person this all looks darker, but because of the lights and how the lights reflect into the camera, it's lighter for you guys. Excuse me. So that's where we are there. Oh, I need an angle so you guys can see what I'm doing. It's not often we get to stand and burn. And I did even lower this so it was a little easier, but at some points I'm going to have to sit down to give my back a break. We are going to start at 2.5. So it's going to be a middle burn. We're going to start with the middle burn, sorry, and work our way up. A lot of it is going to be oval strokes in order to get a gradient, and where it's dark, we start first and then work our way back out. So right now I'm just on the tip. And I needed to define this branch more because it is more in the foreground. I put more in the tree so I knew where the tree was. But the reason for the blurry background is to help, one, give a little bit more interest, but two, where you could do a blurry background, it brings more focus on your main subject. So if you've been feeling like your burning is too busy, having a blurry background, alright, we're going to sit because I did raise my chair. There we go. Having a blurry background is going to draw more attention because there's less detail to look at. Our brains put in the information, so we don't have to worry about that. So if you're feeling like your burning's been a little too busy, and when I mean busy is if you've got all your detail here and then you got a bunch of detail in the background, especially when the background is further back. It's one thing if the background is right up against your subject. So say the tree right here, you do want more detail. But the stuff back here in the background, you want less detail. And this gives your eye a place to stop as you're looking around your piece and take a break. And in doing that, one, it helps it feel more interesting, but two, that is what allows your eye to be able to see your subject better. Sorry about that. I don't know why my voice is feeling off. So this branch back here is in the very back. And that, if we look at the photo here, it's right about here. Let's see here. It's right here. And it's dark, so we see it, but we don't see the detail. And we want to keep it that way. And in some areas, we can actually leave a lighter burn in order to allow things to overlap, some of these blurry leaves to overlap into it, breaking it up. Now these are where my darkest areas are for the most part. Like this branch right here does need to go darker because it's more in the foreground. So I'm just going to go on the tip and drag. I don't need to put any major detail in, but I do need it to be a little bit more defined because it is closer to the camera. It is coming off this main branch and coming down, so we do need it. And let's see here, how far up can I go before I'm off camera? Alright, right about there. I was just trying to get my bearings as to where the camera, because you guys are zoomed in. Alright, so we're going to drag down. We do have some areas where it's getting hit by light, so we need to keep that a little lighter, and then we can go on the left leg, kind of tilt our pen and drag down. I gotta remember I'm at, where am I at? Just shy of 3, and because this is a bigger tip, it's going to burn lighter. All these little things to pay attention to. But for doing the blurry background itself, doing an oval stroke, focusing first on your darkest area of the blurry part and then working out allows you to do a gradient burn, which will keep it softer. Let's see here, so this is light right here. To keep it a softer stroke. And like we've talked about before, I need my reference, so I know where there's some just background, no details. Let me pull that up real quick. Oop, let me mute my phone too. Alrighty. There we go. Got my reference up. And see, looking at the reference close up, everything in the background is just blurry. It's just dots. So that's what we want to do. We want to get those dots in. Circles, dots, the different shapes. So I'm going to actually switch over to the 18 small so I don't have to keep popping up. Let's see here, and that's going to be on a 2.5. Now it's going to burn a little hotter, especially on any raw wood areas. Oops, sorry about that. Because it hasn't been burned before. So I'm going to go flat, start in the darkest area first. Let it build up some dark and then move out. What I've been doing is wherever the lightest areas are, not going all the way up to the graphite in order to keep it blurry. Some of the lightest areas are going to require me to brush on some white pastel for where the sun is hitting it. But for the darkest part, in the furthest background, that isn't going to be happening. So I'm flat. I do need to define a little bit of the tree just by coming out and being loose with that stroke. Make it nice and soft. I've done some erasing of the graphite. I'm going to have to do some more. But some of these leaves, like I said, do come over. So I need to soften up those areas by just being loose with that stroke, burning flat where I want it a little more defined. Then that's where I'm going to be a little more absolute. So like right up here against the edge of this branch, because we do see more definition. That line needs to be a harder line. Where I want to see less definition, it's going to be a softer. And I know that might feel like it gets overwhelming, and it's going to feel off for a while. But as we put more in, it'll start making sense. Because right now, it doesn't. There's a lot going on, so it feels off. But it will get better. So I'm flat right in the middle of where the darkest part is, and then I'm going to work my way out flat, and that's going to give me that gradient burn, and that gradient is what helps sell the so right here, I hadn't put this one in yet. So I'm moving quick, just getting it in. But then I need to focus in the middle, get the shape, and then work out. Kind of tighten, darken this up a little bit because this goes together. And then we have another one over here. I can go flat, get my shape, and then move out a little bit. There we go. Again, this is darker in person. So this line comes all the way down to the branch, and I need to come out. These leaves right here are a little bit more in front. Let's see here. No, actually this isn't. So we start the darkest part and then move out and not be exact. This is where it can get a lot more relaxing because I'm just trying to go to the locations of where things are. So right up here, because this is in front. Hey Mort! I need to tighten it up a little bit and soften it out. Let's see here. I have been doing a lot of erasing. Let's see here. This is darker here. And all these are leaves and limbs that we don't see. We see them, but we don't. Let's see here on this side. So darkest is the center, and then work out, moving quicker. And then I can go and make it bigger or smaller. Excuse me. Let's see. This right here It has a pretty good defined shape. But I'm going to keep the dark in the middle. There's a light right here. Comes around. It's lighter. But I'm using these darks, these negative burns in the back, to also help shape the leaves in the front. So this is all darker here. See, I went up on my tip, so it burned a little darker. But that's okay. Not going to stress about it. Let's see here. Come in here. And see, because I went darker right here, it makes it look like it's overlapping, and I don't want that, so I'm going to go over, break it up, create more of that limb. Focusing the darks on the middle as much as I can. So the more of this background we get in and having it close to the right tonal value, the easier it is to darken and put in the tree. Yeah, the ears still need a bunch of work on them, but it's always nice when they look like the texture they're supposed to be. But this tree needs to go much darker. The way I have it is just too light, even in person. But I need to come back and focus on the background. So down here, I am not on camera, so we're going to move down. There we go. Go flat. And I was a lot looser with this branch. So I'm going to be flat. I can even break it up. Even if it doesn't look like it's broke up, I can break it up, make it an artistic choice, just to make it more interesting. And because I've already burned this dark, I may have to up my heat a little bit. We're going to try slowing down first, so we can keep the pen touching the board. The longer you can keep the pen touching the board, the easier it is to control the heat. Without having to keep adjusting. Some areas, as I go, I'm just not going to burn as dark as I want, even with the slower heat speed. So I can come back later on those. This is darker here. So this is a branch that's coming off behind the tree, but in front of this tree. Let's see, let's curve it a little bit more. Make it a little bit more interesting. Keep it blurry. Easiest way to blur is just not put in the definition. Softer strokes. That's going to give you the blur. Soft strokes and lighter along the edge, darker in the middle. Now, of course, it's going to can change depending on what kind of dark or what kind of background you're doing, but that's the general. So these leaves are in front. This is behind. come in here, shape this leaf a little better. And just relaxing. Like I said, I had my music on yesterday and the day before. I spent 2 days, 2 hours, because I could only stand for so long. I can do quick drags as well, as long as I'm flat. Just kind of sketch it in. We don't really have too much going on in this background. Take it down. Go soft and quick. You see, Carmen says, "Why brain is completely lost. Only when you've done more than it makes sense to me." Yeah, I can see that. I don't think it's as hard as you think it would. I mean, it's easy to get lost, but luckily with the blurry background, it really doesn't matter as much as you think it would. Because when you back out and look at it as a whole, then it makes sense. Right now you guys are zoomed in, so I could definitely being confusing. The minute we're no longer, because we're focusing on it right now, so that's part of the problem. Let's see, I need to bring this stem in. And then I need to decide which is darker, the branch behind or the stick in front. I think I'm going to go with the branch behind. So I got to go darker. But this also makes me go darker. Other areas where I really do need to go darker. It really is easier to get lost. But take your time and just relax about that. Excuse me. And it definitely pays off. Definitely pays off. Let's see here. So I'm going to move quickly. It's worth trying. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to do it again. But I'd say it's worth giving it a try. So we do have a dark shape right here. We'll just do that. Doesn't have to be anything big. Oh, almost off camera. Throws me off when Hubcap's not in here. Let's see, what do I do here? Why is that so dark? Huh. It's nice and blurry. I promise it'll make sense. Just right now it is confusing. So this is an up close leaf. So let's see here. Oh, we're down here. See, I had to get my bearings right there. So I was kind of looking in the wrong spot. I really can't put any white in yet because I need to erase and wipe down the board. Now on these blurry, even up close leaves where it's lighter, There needs to be enough burn for it to darken the wood. Because when I go to varnish, the wood's going to darken, and then I'm going to lose that burn. Because everything is going to be tonal-wise this very similar. So I'm going to erase. I had used a brand new piece of the walnut hollow graphite paper, and I pushed pretty hard because I didn't want to lose the lines. But now I feel more confident in losing the lines. It's not a big deal. So I've just been going along erasing and lightening, even if I haven't burned there, like the side of the tree here. I may have to take some some sandpaper to do a little bit of sanding to pull out more graphite. Alright, let's do some erasing. Here pretty soon, because I've already erased a couple of times, I'll be able to use the denatured alcohol, at least in this area, to wipe down. But for right now, I'm kind of waiting on that. So I try to go against the grain and with the grain, because the graphite's darker, because this is a long grain. So anytime this stroke is a long stroke, or with the grain, the graphite can get in there a little bit more. And I did have to do like a little bit of sanding here to lighten it up. Luckily there's no wax in it, so I don't have to worry about it melting any kind of wax in there. Alright. Brush off. Yep, perspective is extremely important. And having, multiple different detail and then out of focus areas really does sell the realism more. Because think about it, when you look at something from a distance, you focus on it, you'll see a little bit more definition, whereas the stuff up close is blurry, and then vice versa. But if it's all the same, not only is it less interesting, because everything's the same, and what you're conveying is everything in your art piece is important, so you gotta look at it all, and then it gets really overwhelming, versus putting in that different detail versus blurriness tells your viewer this is more important, so pay a little bit more attention to this, and it brings your burning together. It activates any art piece regardless of the medium. Alright, so I'm going to soften up, move quickly. We really don't see the details of these leaves, because they are still behind this tree. They're just closer than the stuff back here. And as the artist, that's where your artistic vision really comes into play, is you deciding what you want your viewer to see. So I'm going to touch down on an area I already burned. Make sure I grab the right pen. I've got my single and my dual plugged in, so that I could just switch in between. Plus I was standing up so I could reach my dual as I was burning, but now not so much. I can go in little strokes to darken in certain areas. down. And luckily the pan pastel, I'll use a brush. I'll be able to brush over some of the burn with white where it needs it. Let's see here. So we have a bit of a break. So I'm going to go flat. Leave a break there. We've got lines coming down. Don't know what they are. So we'll just go flat to put them in. See, we have background right here, meaning there's no leaves. And let's see here. On the reference, we're in this area to the left of the tree. Actually, right there, to the left of the tree. I'm backing out on my reference to see how dark I need the background. I'm thinking I'm just going to leave it completely unburned. It's going to darken a little bit, like I said, when I varnish. So I'm just going to leave it. Where I get a blob, I can just kind of blend it. Boop, did it all. Nothing to stress about. You won't even see it. Let's see here. What are we going to do here? We could use some lines here. We'll just put some lines in. Be loose with our strokes. Same as when we were discussing the tree last week. The contrast is way more important than the shape. So we're just not even going to worry about the shape. Let's see here. So on this branch, it does have some areas where there's light hitting it, and there's some darker areas like that. I'm going to make it longer so it comes down. Break things up a little bit. Go. Let's see here. So right here the branch is too defined. And you see that there's a glare, so we'll move the camera up so there's less of a glare. It's too defined right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go flat. And I'm going to go over where the graphite line was. And just burn. And what that did is just made any details go away. Softens that line. Just brings everything together. There we go. So now we can't see as well where the line starts. And that's what makes it blurry, when we can't visually decide where the line starts. Excuse me. So I'm actually going to bump up to 4.5 because we're going to work on darkening this tree, at least a little bit of it, so we can see the difference. I'm going to go flat. And I can see in the reference where this arm kind of comes out. It's more of an indent. So I'm just going to darken behind the indent. And actually, I think it'll be easier if I switch over to the large and do this. So I'm going to unplug it. I'm just going to use the single so I don't have to stand up again right now. Now remember, when we go dark, there's a better chance of building up carbon. So use the lowest temperature possible. I'm going to keep that at 4. But we need to go at least that dark, if not darker. I did try using some hot air with my torch. And I think for now it'd just be better to wait on that. I can use it as a last resort later. So up on my tip. I'm going to slow down, make sure I'm flat. And I'm going all the way out to the bark. Normally I would have stopped. This is basswood. I would have stopped where the red part on the face is, but I decided to go over it. So I'm going to go dark and flat. We don't want to define anything. This tree is just there. I do have to worry about, because this is the line right here. No, there it is. That's the line right there for where there's a change in the wood. So the left side is going to burn slightly different than the right. I can also use the extra large spoon shader to do this. Slow down, I'm going a little too fast. And right now I'm flat. Build it up. Where we see the dots, I'm going to have to go that dark. I can bring some of that burning out just to break it up. Soften the line. Go darker inside. Just flat, going oval circles. I could drag as well. So it's whatever you're comfortable with, especially since we're just darkening. Slow down. Now when using the hot air or the flame of a torch, it tends to do more of a gray burn on wood. But when you go to varnish, you'll see a change in color. Let's see here, we're going to go up a little bit. So you can see the difference now dark. So I can drag, or I can just go flat. Do oval strokes out. So again, whatever you're comfortable with. Just know you're going to get a little different response burning wise. I feel like I need to stand up a bit. I would say start with the oval, and then as you've pulled heat from your pan, drag down. And do both strokes to blend. We really don't want any kind of texture, because if we put any texture here, any real texture, it's going to take away from the bear. So flat, Now defining strokes. I can even if I move quickly, it'll burn lighter. What I'm going to try to do is stay in this one area so we can build it up and see the difference before the end of the live. So just flat over the strokes. Again, this side is going to burn different. Right there, that's the line in between the two woods. So touch down in the darkest area and then drag over. And this just makes me burn everything else darker as it should be. Because like I said, even after 19 years, it can be hard to darken something. Especially when you put so much time into it. I think I'm at about 20 hours on this so far. But again, this is a big, huge piece. Oops. So that definitely is going to define that branch now. Right now, I'm kind of dragging down on the right leg. Gives me a little thicker stroke. On doing the straight down drag, it can make it feel like real bark. But now I need to fix this branch. So I'm touching down and blending out from that line. And going in between the strokes that I can see to blend. Kind of like if I was doing just a flat background, dark background. So for the blurriness, we can do different strokes, but not for the texture. It's for the tonal value. So let's just back out and see the difference. I don't want to have that pen down too long. See how much that branch just popped? It just went poof right into our faces. Hey, Burl. Whereas at the beginning of the live, it was kind of blending with the tree in the background. But now look at it. It is there. It is in our face. It's exactly what doing. It's popping just like we wanted it to do. So let's get back in there. Let's see, I don't. So I gotta remember, this is really hot, touch down, or I can blow, pull some heat. All right. Let it recover a little bit. It's not often we get smoke. The smoke for me goes straight up and not in my face because I'm on an easel and I'm tilted like straight up and down. So I don't get the smoke in my face. Let's define this other side. We have some stems coming off. Right now I'm up on the very tip. Quickly, boom. Now those stems pop out. Now I've got a leaf that comes out right here. I kind of messed up and went too dark right there. So I'm having to shape it with some negative burning. What I mean by screwed up is there's supposed to be a leaf right here, but I burned too dark. And rather than sand, I'm just going to allow it to be a darker leaf. Without defining. This is how I can also thin out any of the sticks. Let's see here, I've got a leaf right there, got a bit of a leaf there, so I'm going to go up on the tip, make sure you guys can see. Come up, there we go. And we can do some negative burning to help shape. Right now I'm on the right leg, I'm tilted this way, so I'm using the right leg to burn. Go. Now I have some further back darker leaves over the tree without even having to do any kind of erasing. And right now I'm doing shorter strokes to fill in the area. Around. And see, right on the tip. I gotta remember I had to extend my pattern, so this is actually further down. And some of it I'm having to make up because the information just isn't there. So it's just more of a repeat of what is already going on. This needs to darken a little bit. Flat. You see this flat stroke is also smoothing out texture. So I don't want any texture. Not for this furthest back. Now I did hit with the hot air right here. Not too much, but I did. Just the tip. Not defining. Let's see here. Oh, gotta look at my reference. Where'd I put it? There it is. It's behind me. Alright. So this is how much detail we can see in the different leaves. I'm trying to focus here in the back first. While keeping this front in mind. We're going to break that up a little bit. Oop. Alright, went too dark there. So let's bump it down to 2. Because we're going to have to build up right here to smooth it out. So I can pull some heat. Go in the middle. I could even go back to the small to help do this as well. I need to darken just and smooth out as much as I can. Yeah, I may have to switch over to the extra or to the small to do that because it's not wanting to. Let's see here. I'm going to bump up to 3. It just needs a little heat. And what this is going to do is require me to go darker with other areas. Not all of them, just others. Let's see here. So let's pick another area that is part of the background. I'm going to stand here. This is part of the background here. So this is the darkest area. Bring it out. See here, where else? This is part of the darkest area. Trying to keep it in the center as much as I can. And then bring it out. I need to do some erasing up here. And it doesn't even have to be a full circle. Break it up. Let's see here. This is all background. Break it up a little bit. This right here is kind of a weird shape, so I'm going to go flat. Bring it out. And this is going to look so off until I put other stuff in. And I just have to keep that in mind. Actually, it looks like this is going to go darker. Just above the reference photo. I'm in this area. Oh yeah, it is. Sorry about that. It's because I made the reference bigger. So, there we go. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just making sure the photo was over the camera. I'm going to bring this up. There's a split right here, a natural split. So I'm going to have to work to blend these together. So I'll kind of change the shape a little bit. Not gonna matter. Trying not to hit that split if possible. darken this. Not trying to be defining at all. In fact, I probably should do a little bit of erasing. Let's see here, this is line. Yeah, we're going to do some erasing right there. I haven't erased anything up here. And this will actually also allow me to go outside the boundary and do some different shapes if I feel it needs it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this shape, the graphite there for now. Take out the background. And if I get the graphite light enough, with just erasing, when I burn over it, it'll just go into the burn. Definitely got to hold your wood and get in there. And this is why you don't want to use any transfer paper that has wax. If it doesn't say it doesn't have wax, it's got wax, because it will melt into your burning and you will never get it off. Get in there. Like I said, that's the tree. I don't care that it's lightened. Kind of need it to be lightened. And in some areas I might have to use a little bit of 400 sandpaper just to kind of get it off a little bit. I'm going to erase some more. I know it's a pain. But it will help. Well, have a good day, Carmen. And don't forget, this weekend, this Sunday, is daylight savings ends. Arizona doesn't change time, so the live streams will be an hour earlier than right now for everyone, because I don't change times. So, and that's for the US. I gotta check to see when like the UK and Australia's happen for them, but for us here in the US, next week live is going to be an hour early. So if it started at 2 p.m. for you, it starts at 1 p.m. next week. And I think next week is going to be a members only live. And we'll start talking about what to do for Christmas as we work more on the bear. Member only lives do not have ads. I did realize and went in and changed this, that YouTube put like over 10 ads on the last 3 lives, and I actually went in and removed ads. 2 of the lives have 3 ads, 1 has 4, but there's no more than 4 ads on the last 3 lives, public lives. Like I said, the members don't get any ads because they're already paying, so I'm not going to put any ads on those. Alright, there we go. I know it's not all off, and I'm sure you guys can still see it, but it's more off. Alright. let's get in here. Touch down in an area we've already burned. We're on 3 with the 18 large. Actually, this is extra large. No, large. This is large. Now we can go over that graphite. Go flat. Gradiate out those darks that we put in. Smooth out some areas. Let's see here. Nice and soft. Don't try to make them too uniform. Just kind of blend them. We'll end up with some funky shapes, which if we were looking at the detail, we would figure out are, you know, the branches and leaves. And because the bear's outside, our viewer knows that these are stems and leaves without having the definition. And I'm just trying to soften up, break up. Now that I've done some erasing, I don't want any straight lines if possible. I actually got off right there, so I kind of had to reshape that. Yeah, Burl, I have YouTube Prime as YouTube Red as well, so no ads. So I forget the ads are on videos. Burl wishes that the California would stay on daylight savings. See, I wish you guys would, everybody would stay on regular time. And not daylight savings, but like we do, we don't change. And it's so nice. Let's see here. So I gotta find, let's see, this comes up. Go flat. So spoon shaders work for doing this. Spear shaders work. You can use a ball tip. You're not going to get necessarily, depending on size and heat setting, is not going to be as smooth. But you could use a ball tip. We don't want any texture. We're just breaking this all up. We want it to be hazy around this area. If you hear any banging outside, it's been very windy. Our weather has been quite crazy. We got snow last week and then it went back up into the 70s and then the weather changed again. Alright. So I'm just trying to soften up these areas. Flat over burning. Trying to leave some lighter areas. So we got pretty dark right here. I know I don't have any up close leaves in this area, so that's why I'm not looking for them. Here, let's soften this up a little bit. So going over the line, softer burn. Now you don't have to do a blurry background for every piece. If the subject and background are close together, you could go either or. If the background is really busy, I would say it's worth taking a look and deciding as the artist if you should. Because this is such a big piece, I felt multiple layers of depth were necessary. Hey, Wanda. Oh, so Wanda is in Arizona. She's down south. He's trying to adjust. They were hitting 90s still down there. But right now there's 69. Yeah, the weather's been crazy. And in general, for the Phoenix area, it doesn't tend to cool off until Halloween night, which is this week. Woohoo! Let's see here. So I've got that. So I actually have a leaf right there, or a stem. What did I do here? That's in between. Put a dark here. Go flat. Blend it out. Make this a little bit bigger. Kind of put some different tonal values in different shapes. Breaking it up. In here we have just some plain background. We have some lighter, some darker. Alright, so this is lighter. So I'm just going to move quickly and flat. This is actually a leaf coming up off of this stem, so I don't want to lose it. Some dark behind it. See how I'm connecting and shaping what we're seeing. I will back out the camera and hopefully this will make more sense for you, because I know it can be overwhelming. Connect these. Soften those strokes. Go over that graphite because you don't want anything defined. Alright, let's take a minute again because you guys are so zoomed in. You're going to see more of it. Let's see how far we can back out. Excuse me. My sinuses have decided to go crazy. Oh, I'm sorry your garden didn't have a chance, Wanda. So let's back out. See how I know we're not going to see all the bear right now. And that's because it's such a big piece. I'm trying to pull out the camera as much as I can. There we go. Kind of. See, it's becoming more and more blurry back here. And as we do that, look how that branch just really became defined when I put that dark edge where it needed to be. So I will, right now you really can't see these light stems. They're not reading like that, but they will. But as we put more in, all that needs to go darker. I can actually pull out, because I kind of have a repeating pattern here that I don't like. So I'm going to break it up. And that's just going to be a matter of changing tonal value. It's not anything to stress about. Break it up a little bit. Change directions of some of the lighting, because let's see here, go up a little bit. That almost looks like glowing eyes. Let's look at our reference real quick. Yeah, we shouldn't have glowing eyes. So what we're gonna do is take this one, push it back. Kind of change the shape of it and go that one up a little bit. And now you probably see it because I pointed it out. I'm going to break it up like this a little bit. And then it's still there, but I can do more work there. This one. Let's see, here's this one. We're going to pull this. Let's kind of break it up a little bit. And this is the benefit of taking a step back and looking. We're just going to add another stem looking thing. Break it up a little bit. I'm looking to see what to do here. Looking at the reference. Dark right here. And I think by bumping up my heat back to that 4.5, I can reshape the side, and that should be good. So as I'm finishing up, has anybody got any questions? Like I said, next week is a members live, I think. We need to have our friendship time. Any new members are always welcome. And if you don't want to become a member through YouTube, you can use the Ko-fi link down in the description. Drag across this way. Breaking it up. definitely need to darken here. Anyway, so I will keep building that up. Awesome, Sonia. Thank you. I definitely need to darken that up because it's throwing the tree. Taking the time for a blurry background, which is going to be on both sides, I will really make your subject pop out. I mean, we've got a lot going on with the bear. There is a lot of fur going on. A lot of detail. And I did put work on the tree compared to what you guys saw last week, but it's really starting to come out more because of that. So I'll keep working on that. And next week, members, you guys tell me what you guys want to do next week. We may just keep going with this and building up and darkening and going. If there's something else you guys want to discuss, well, I'll do that too. Alrighty. There may be a lot of ads on the live right now. I will go back in after it's processed and I will pull 3/4 of the ads. There will be no more than 4 ads because I know how distracting that is and I don't like it. So if you're new, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I have way over 300 videos on wood burning. Don't forget to hit the like button. And members, we will see you next week an hour early, except for Wanda, because you're here in Arizona with me. Let's see. I hope it's going to make the end of the table. I'm pushing hard for it, Wanda. Pushing hard. Keep going with the bear. And Sheila didn't get any ads this week. Oh, good. Alrighty, you know what to say with me. You're awesome. You can do this. Why? Because you're a pyro artist. Happy burning, guys. Bye. Have a great Halloween. Do, 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 do.